Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of This Is Us Season 5, Episode 14. It's nice to just be back talking about the show.
Yeah, it feels like the show has been off the air forever, and it has been a long time, but it feels like it's been months and months and months. Like, time really is just kind of in a vacuum right now. So it is really good to be back with you guys talking about this show. We have missed it.
And Coco Vanderwolf is here to offer some animal consolation because I knew we were going to need it for like the first 5 minutes of this episode with that Beth montage, and then they still found a way to make it sad from there.
Oh yeah, they did. There was a lot of sadness. There were a lot of really nice moments. I mean, we're going to go through it all, plus my worry that they are setting up a separation or divorce coming up with Toby and Kate. We will get over some of the signs that are in this episode.
But let's talk about a happy thing here for a second, because we're on the road here to 50,000 subscribers. We're getting close.
Yeah, we are really close to hitting like this really major milestone that it's shocking for us that we've even kind of gotten where we are. We didn't expect that when we started this channel, and we are really close to this 50,000 subscriber milestone. So thank you everyone who has subscribed, and if you haven't and you want to help us get to that milestone, hit that button.
We also have a lot of Coco Vanderwolf related content at the moment on our Instagram.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen you guys. We've moved.
Yes.
I'm sure you can kind of notice a little bit of a difference going on, that there is nothing behind us right now, and the reason why is we're still unpacking and doing stuff like that, but we have some pictures of Coco and a little bit of, the new place, new house. If you want to see it, over at our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV, follow us over there.
Okay, good. Let's just get the sad thing over with here, because it's hurting my heart.
Which sad thing? Okay, no. Let's talk about the sort of the thing in the room here that we don't really want to talk about. Now, people have been speculating, us too for a while, that Toby and Kate were gonna end up getting divorced. We saw it was the birthday at the cabin. Kate didn't have her ring on. She was signing as Pearson. That's all been sort of debunked now. We've had in the present episode with that, and Toby was there. They were together. Everything was okay. It was maybe just, she washed her hands doing the dishes and took her ring off. Like, there was no real explanation. Pearson, I've been long sort of sitting on this, that she just kept her maiden name. It was like one of the last things that she could keep from her dad, so she did.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything controversial there.
But in this episode, the two of them are starting, their communication is really breaking down a lot, and they're keeping a lot from each other, which is something that they haven't really done before. Kate is really enjoying her job a lot, and she's keeping it from Toby. She feels like she's unable to share any of her joy with her husband because her husband is out of work and having a very hard time being at home.
I think that it's worrisome, because this feels like something that could like crescendo. It's like a wave sort of building up momentum before it crashes onto the land. And we know from those flash forwards that Toby shows up there and Kate's not there yet. We don't know what's going on with the two of them in that timeline. Maybe that is sort of like the thing that is fueling paranoia. It's just sad, because we're supposed to have a wedding at the end of this season with Kevin and Matt. Why you gotta throw in a possible divorce or other sad stuff? This Is Us.
Yeah, it feels like right now it's very small seeds. I mean, there's only a couple episodes left. Do I think they're going to be rolling into divorce in 2 episodes? No.
Yeah.
But there are some seeds, real seeds, that are feeling like they're getting planted here, because once this starts to happen in a marriage, it really can break it down if they don't come to the table with everything that's happening. Because later in the episode, we saw Kate sharing her joy with her mom, where she brought her mom to go see what she's been doing at her job, and that they sang the Big Yellow Taxi song, her whole class, which is a great tune. And it was so nice to see Kate having such joy in her job, which is something that I really understand. I like working a lot. I get a lot of joy from my job, so I got it.
Yeah, I think that's what made this episode, by and large, to me really good, is I think they have a lot of things in here that people can relate to in one way or another, because Kate, I think she's sort of acting out of what she considers to be love or care for Toby, and that she doesn't want to rub, her good time at work in his face. But, at the same time, communication is what makes things work in the real world. And you can't just sort of keep everything bottled in, because then it's never going to end well. It's going to feel like a secret.
Yeah, and speaking of secrets, then we have Toby, who is trying to take on everything he can, including YouTubing how to fix plumbing, which is insane. It's just too much. And he ends up breaking down, having to call his dad in to help him sort of get this all together, and then doesn't end up telling Kate that he had to call someone in. He's sort of just quietly taking the win. He's not like, yeah, look what I did, but he's definitely being quiet about it. This is making me worried. And in the future, I have been sort of on the hill that Kate is alive. I know there's a lot of people out there that think that she's dead. I don't. I think she is alive. I think that she could or could not be separated from Toby. I mean, he did show up there on his own, but there was the whole phone call of, Jack's on his way or they're on their way. And I think that she's there, but this is making me nervous. That's where I am. Sadness. I don't want to see them break up. But no. This is a show about relationships, and that unfortunately is part of them sometimes.
Okay, so we've stopped one spot on Sadness Road here, but I feel like there's another pit stop coming up, and it's Beth's job, and this is so. I know this is relatable, unfortunately, to a lot of people who have lost their business during the virus and everything that's going on.
But this is the first time I've seen it on any of the shows that I'm watching where it's related to a job, to a small business collapsing.
And they told this so well, because if they had just put a closed sign in front of the door, it wouldn't have been as effective as just seeing her try to teach via Zoom to less and less people. This was heartbreaking. It was so sad.
This story was done so well, but it was really sad.
It was just also Beth trying to keep it together and say, oh, she's fine, going to get back into her old workforce. I would feel my soul would just be passed out on the ground if I didn't know that eventually in the future things work out for Beth and it's all going to be okay.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that. So, she's eating Lucky Charms and laughing at the person that's trying to interview her when they have to reschedule. It's not a good situation right now.
No.
I wish we could tell you, future Beth, you could be okay.
Susan Klitschko, she was so good in this episode.
Yeah, she is.
She doesn't always get the grade A material, but
she did tonight.
Yeah, she did tonight. This was just a really good either spouses or significant others of the Pearsons, because then we have what's going on with Madison.
This was a great episode for Madison as well. I mean, we know very little about sort of her family. I mean, she gave birth to the twins. No mom there, no dad there, no family there. Randall is there for her. So to see her be able to go wedding dress shopping with her best friend and then her future mother-in-law, that talk with Rebecca just broke me. I felt so bad for Madison, sort of saying, opening up about her family, that her mom dipped out on her when she was really young, left her with her dad, which is basically leaving her with nobody. It was just so sad. And even this, I kind of thought that this was going to happen. We were talking about this the other day, that once it came into the magazines that she was marrying, Kevin Pearson, and that some of her family might crawl out of the woodwork for her wedding, and her dad did. And then abandoned her right before it's all coming up, being yeah, I'm going to come, don't worry. And she started to get her hopes up a little bit. And then he was like, oh, a work emergency has come up. I'm like, a work emergency? This still seems like it's weeks off. What work emergency do you have that has come up now? You are a terrible, terrible father.
He's the worst. There's so many reasons why he's the worst. I expected they were going to go in a different sort of worse direction here, where he was going to go to the wedding, but he was only going because Kevin was famous, and he was just going to, like, cling on to Kevin and be like, I saw you in that episode, take this photo for me so I can post it on Facebook with you.
Yeah, or sell it, or sell stories, like,
I thought they were going in that direction, but, which, by the way, would also still be awful, but they have this direction instead, which I guess was a little bit more unpredictable in a way. But
it's so sad.
Yeah, it's so sad. And I feel a lot for Madison. And you have already shared your sad fear for a couple on This Is Us. Okay, I apologize in advance for what I'm about to say. And Kevin and Madison fans, I am one of you. I am one of you. This season has won me over on the two of them big time. I was pretty uncertain entering it. However, I am fearful about that scene with Zoe and Kevin where she was basically like, you're a people pleaser, Kevin. And then you have a scene at the end of the episode where he's trying to please Madison by letting her watch a show, and I'm just sort of thinking, is he marrying her because he wants to, or because he thinks it's the right thing? Okay, don't. I will put on my suit of armor now.
Listen, I'm a little bit worried about that too, and I know that a lot of you guys out there have been worried about it as well, that this is a relationship that isn't going to last, and that we will end up in a situation where they're co-parenting. And that is sort of where I thought that it was going to end up landing. But I did and do think that they are going to get married and that the relationship over time will turn more into that. Would I like to just see them work it out and have a relationship? Yes. I actually think that they're really good for each other because Madison holds him accountable for stuff. And in some ways, even though, yes, he was called as a people pleaser, he has had some tough conversations with her that he has not had with other people. I mean, he's had some with Sophie, but he didn't have all the really tough conversations with Zoe, which is why I think Zoe said that. I think she only really knew this one side of him where it's like, oh, you don't want to have kids? Now I don't want to have kids. It's all good. As long as I have you, it's all good. I think his relationship with Zoe was good on a lot of levels, but it was missing that deeper level with things. Madison and Kevin have had those conversations already where she talked about her body image and he related where he has the same problems in a bit of a different way, but that he has body image problems as well. And they have been having much deeper conversations where he is not only people pleasing her. He has, of course, compromised and does want to make her happy, but he has also not done that, where he has also opened up about his own troubles. I don't think that what Zoe said is true for this relationship, but it's in his head now.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they showed that scene at the end, because they want it to be in our heads now, too.
Yeah, because when he had that moment where he's stuck watching the Great British Bake Off, and he's just kind of like, oh man, like maybe I'm not really where I want to be. I'm not sure what he's really thinking about, or maybe all he's thinking about is, I want to watch Bridgerton. I wish I could reach the remote, and it's not anything deeper than that.
Listen, first of all, I may be Team Madison with this. I haven't really watched either show that in depth, but I think I would choose the Great British Bake Off. I'm just saying. I love baking. Okay.
I haven't seen either, so
I'm worried about two things here.
Yeah.
Number one, the finale supposedly is the wedding. They've done finale weddings before. They're not going to do the same thing twice, are they? Like, I'm worried.
I'm worried too, and especially after seeing this episode where Madison is really becoming close to Kevin's family. She is building a relationship with Rebecca. Of course, she's best friends with Kate. She doesn't have family, so she is starting to actually open herself up to this other family that is going to be her family. If he dips out on her, not just on her wedding, she is losing a lot more than just losing Kevin. She's building real relationships with this family and becoming part of a family, which is something she hasn't had. If she loses two families, I don't really know what's going to happen to her, if she is strong enough to handle that. Like, I just don't know.
And I think it's going to create a situation where we all sort of become that boo this man gif when it comes to Kevin, if Kevin does something like that. It's just my other fear here is that they keep bringing up all of these exes, like, rather often, and it seems like they still have plans for the other ones. This is no offense to Melanie Liebert, who is a great actress, but can't she just go off and be that terrible character on Power Book 2 and just not show up here at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Zoe character is done now. There's no movement forward with that. And, I mean, there's another interpretation that, I mean, I just kind of thought of right now of that scene, is that it's possible that Kevin was just mostly realizing that his relationship with Zoe was like this, and that he was just people-pleasing her, and that even though when he did go home and she was like, oh, I'd rather watch this, and he was like, okay, and he had that moment, maybe the moment on the couch is where he kind of realized that his relationship with Madison is not the same.
It is time now for what should be... Okay, this is happier news.
Well, before we go on to that, I will say that I am worried that the show is bringing Kevin back to his sort of scatterbrained self. He's been doing a lot of work on himself, and he's been growing really well as a character into a actually much more interesting character with a lot of different levels. It's not very often that you get a show where somebody is such a mess, and then you get to see them grow over the seasons and make changes and sort of become this better version of themselves. We saw this on Grey's Anatomy with Alex, and then we all know what happened there. If you watch the show, it all regressed into a giant mess in his last episode. I'm really hoping that's not where we're going here.
I'm hoping it's not. Just don't get all the movie stuff in your head too much here. Like, don't let the stuff going on with your career sink the rest of your life because you get just very paranoid and very stressed. But okay,
let's hit the curve. Where do we
We're going to my happy place.
Nikki Town?
Nikki Town is my favorite town. I love everything about Nikki. I love his curmudgeon-y personality. I love how weird he is. I love that he's still dressed for 50-degree weather in Los Angeles. I love that for some inexplicable reason he is there outside the meeting and he's just look at this onesie I got. It's why are you here?
I know. Listen, you guys know that I love Nikki, and I really do. Yeah. I like being in Nikki Town as well. But there was no purpose for him to be in this episode, because why is Kevin bringing him to a screening that he's not even invited in to see? It's I'll see you in 2 hours after I'm done watching this movie. Go on a tour or look around. Why are you bringing him to this?
Why are you also bringing him into the meeting with your agent? It would make no sense, but it was hilarious.
No, it was hilarious, but that also made no sense that Kevin didn't just say, wait for me in the lobby. I didn't understand what the purpose of it all was, but it was good for a smile.
It reminded me a lot of those other shows or movies where you hear about these with Hollywood stories where someone's got the problem parent who is in there as the momager or whatever, and it's Kevin now has a dadager who's just looking at these scripts and be like, oh, this one seems interesting. Kevin's that's been done 3 times already, and he's just I'd still watch it.
Yeah, he's Uncle-ager?
Yeah, Uncle-ager. Okay,
he's part of the entourage, we'll call him that.
Kevin's entourage now
is Nikki.
It's just Nikki. He doesn't have anybody else. Can we call him Nikki Drama?
Yep. Okay. Well, we'll see what's going to end up happening with Kevin's career. Apparently, this movie that's going to be coming out with this director that he walked off the set with is the worst piece of crap that he's ever made. And Kevin has built up a reputation now of leaving sets. Yes. This is the 3rd thing that he's left. His manager is getting pretty worried that he's not really going to be able to get anything else, and he is spiraling. So he's had this talk with Zoe where he's in his head about being a people pleaser. He not sure that now, maybe he's not sure if he's doing the right thing. His career is about to go into the toilet. Even his own managers are not really sure what to do.
This is all boding very badly for Kevin. I don't know if he's going to keep it together.
Yeah, I don't know. Andy has a wedding coming up, which, is a joyous occasion, but also very stressful. I'm not sure where we're headed with Kevin.
One more thing, Kevin. Why are you talking down about being on TV where he's just like, ugh, am I going to have to do TV again? Listen up, bro. We're here talking about TV every week, bro. Right? Like, what do you got? What are you trying to say, Kevin? We're people talking about TV. So
we're talking about you, Kevin.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Kevin is now on the list, and with that in mind,
what list is this?
We don't need to talk about the list. Right. What did you guys think about This Is Us, Season 5, Episode 14? Tell us what moments made you smile. Tell us all of your fears, possibly irrational, like some of the fears that I have with this show.
And what made you feel the saddest? Like Randall dancing and hugging Beth at the end of this episode. I died. I was crying to way more than I needed to.
This show
was so good.
This show. Okay, well, if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that subscribe button. Get us closer to 50K, and you can support us more by checking those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.